She graduated, filed for divorce, and I said nothing, just signed the papers. No argument. No begging. No tears. When someone you love decides to walk out, there's nothing you can do except let them. 10 years passed in silence. I changed cities, changed jobs, built a new life out of the wreckage she left behind. And just when I thought I'd buried her memory for good, she found me, standing outside the cafe I managed, wearing the same perfume she used to, the same quiet smile that used to mean safety. Only this time, she wasn't here for love. She was here for something else. And when I looked into her eyes, I realized she wasn't the same woman I once knew. She looked scared, of me. It was a Wednesday morning, the kind of day that feels like every other. Coffee steam in the air. The soft hum of traffic outside. I was behind the counter, pouring milk into an espresso cup when I heard the bell over the door ring. I didn't look up at first, the morning rush hadn't started yet. But when I finally glanced toward the entrance, my hands froze. She stood there. Same brown coat. Same nervous fidget with her sleeves. Like time hadn't dared to touch her, but I knew it had. She hesitated before walking up to the counter. "Hi," she said softly. Her voice, I hadn't heard it in 10 years. But somehow, my body remembered it instantly. I forced a smile. "Hey." That was all I managed. She looked around the cafe, as if trying to decide if she was really supposed to be here. "You own this place?" "Manage it," I said. "The owner's in Delhi." A long pause stretched between us, thick and awkward. She nodded slowly, then whispered, "You look different." So did she. There were faint scars near her wrist, like old cuts that had never quite healed. Her eyes were darker, more hollow. I wanted to ask why she was here. But before I could, she said, "I need to talk to you." "Not here. Please." We sat in the park behind the cafe, the same one we used to visit after her college classes. The autumn air carried that faint chill that feels like memory. She kept her hands hidden in her coat pockets, her voice trembling. "I know it's strange," she began, "me showing up like this after everything. But I didn't know who else to turn to. I waited." She avoided my eyes. "I didn't just leave you," she said finally. "I left because, something happened. Something I couldn't explain." My heartbeat quickened. "What do you mean?" She looked around like she expected someone to be watching. "You remember my graduation day?" How could I forget? She'd walked off the stage, thrown her cap into the air, then disappeared. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived by courier. No explanation. No closure. "Yes," I said quietly. Her voice dropped lower. "After the ceremony, I got a call from someone. Said he knew things about my family, things that could destroy us. He said if I didn't leave you, he'd tell everyone." I frowned. "Who? What things?" She shook her head. "I can't tell you yet. But he's back. He found me again." A long silence. Wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, a child laughed, a cruel contrast to the tension sitting between us. "Why come to me?" I asked. "You left. You didn't even say goodbye." She met my eyes, and for the first time, I saw fear. Real fear. "Because you were the only one who never asked me for anything. And I think, you might be in danger too." Later that evening, she showed up at my apartment. Same hesitance, same soft knock on the door, 3 times, like she used to. She sat on the couch, clutching her purse. When she opened it, she pulled out an old photograph, of the 2 of us, taken right before her graduation. But there was something wrong with it. Someone else was in the background. A man, blurred, standing by a tree, wearing a black coat. I'd never noticed him before. She pointed at him. "That's him." "Who?" "The man who called me. The one who made me leave." My throat went dry. "You're saying this guy's been following you?" "For 10 years. Her hand trembled. "He's not just following me. He's watching you too." She slid another photo across the table. This one was newer, a picture of me, taken outside my cafe just last week. Same angle, same distance, as if taken from across the street. I stared at it, my stomach tightening. "How did you get this?" "It was in my mailbox this morning." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards, every car passing outside felt like a threat. I checked the locks twice, then again. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You shouldn't have talked to her. No name. No context. Just that. I ran to the window. The street below was empty. The message came again. You both made mistakes. Now you'll pay for them. I called her immediately. No answer. I called again, nothing. By 1 a.m., I was outside her hotel, banging on her door. No lights. No sound. The receptionist told me she checked out an hour ago, left no forwarding address. The next day, I returned to my apartment to find the door slightly open. My stomach dropped. Inside, nothing seemed stolen, but everything was slightly moved. Drawers half open. Papers shifted. A photo frame on the floor, glass cracked. And on the kitchen counter, a note. No handwriting. Just typed. You should have stayed out of it. Beside it, a single item, her wedding ring. The same one she'd thrown on the table the day she left. But there was one difference. Inside the ring, where the inscription used to read forever, it now said. Run. I went to the police. They asked questions, wrote down notes, promised to look into it. But I could tell, they didn't believe me. They saw a man talking about his ex-wife and a mysterious stalker, probably thought I was delusional or obsessed. That evening, I went through my old boxes. Letters. Photographs. And one old USB drive I didn't remember seeing before. I plugged it into my laptop. There was a single file, labeled grad_day. When I opened it, I expected photos. Instead, there was a 12-second video. It showed her, on stage, receiving her diploma. The crowd cheering. But at the edge of the stage, that same man in the black coat, standing motionless, facing the camera. At the very end, as she turned to throw her cap. He looked directly into the lens. And smiled. 2 days later, she called. Her voice was barely audible. They found me, she whispered. I don't have much time. Don't go to the police. Don't trust anyone. Where are you? I demanded. I left something for you. In the cafe storeroom. Behind the second shelf. The line went dead. I ran to the cafe, locked the doors, and headed to the back. Behind the second shelf, taped to the wall, was a small brown envelope. Inside, a key and a note. If I disappear, go to locker 47, Metro Station South. You'll understand everything. That night, I took the last train to the metro station. Locker 47 was hidden in the corner near an old maintenance door. The key fit perfectly. Inside, a flash drive and a folded piece of paper. The paper had just one line. He's not after me. He's after you. My hands shook as I inserted the flash drive into my laptop. Dozens of encrypted files appeared, but one was openable. It was a scanned document. My name on the top. Her name below. And a third name, one I didn't recognize, signed as witness. The file title. Experiment 7, Subject Memory Transfer Report. That file haunted me. Experiment 7, Subject Memory Transfer Report. The words made no sense. My name beside hers, and that third name, blurred by a digital watermark. I zoomed in, enhanced, sharpened. The signature became clear. Drive N.R. Awasthi. I searched the name online, dozens of results popped up. A neuroscientist. Government-funded research. Last reported sighting, 10 years ago. Then nothing. 10 years ago. The same year she left. A chill crept through my spine. I plugged in the flash drive again, digging through encrypted folders. Most refused to open, but one played, an audio file labeled Session 7B. Static. Then voices. Subject appears stable. Memory synchronization at 82%. Proceeding with emotional dissociation protocol. Then her voice. Please, I don't want to forget him. Silence. It's for your safety, the doctor said. If he remembers, he dies. If you remember, you'll follow. The clip ended there. I sat frozen, my breath uneven. What the hell had they done to us? The next night, as I was closing the cafe, I saw him. Standing across the street, same black coat, same stillness. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared. I stepped outside, heart pounding. "Who are you?" I shouted. No answer. "Why are you following me?" He tilted his head, then raised his hand and pointed, at the window above the cafe. My apartment window. By the time I looked back, he was gone. Inside my apartment, the door was open again. On the table, a new note. "You shouldn't have unlocked the drive." Underneath it, another photo. Of me, sleeping. She called the next morning. Her voice was cracked, distant. "They know you found it," she said. "You have to meet me, now." "Where?" "The old university library. Basement floor." I didn't hesitate. The library was abandoned now, dust-covered and quiet. The basement smelled like damp paper and rusted memories. She was already there, sitting on a wooden chair, hands shaking. When she saw me, tears filled her eyes. "I tried to protect you," she whispered. "But they didn't stop after I left." "Who are they?" I asked. "What was that experiment?" She hesitated. 10 years ago, my university worked with a neuroscience institute, a WUSTI's team. They were testing a way to transfer emotional memories between people. Soldiers, agents, trauma victims, they wanted to erase pain, rebuild loyalty. "And us?" I asked. She swallowed hard. "We were the control pair." I stared at her, disbelief rising. "We never signed up for anything." "You did," she said softly. "You just don't remember." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small metallic chip, like a coin. "This was implanted in you," she said. "It stores neural sequences. They extracted parts of your memory, replaced them with fabricated ones." I felt the room spin. "You're saying my memories were altered?" "Yes. The day you think I filed for divorce, you never signed papers. You were sedated. They erased the months we spent in the lab." "Why would I agree to that?" "Because you thought it would save me," she whispered. "You were told I was dying, a brain hemorrhage. You begged them to take parts of your memory, to transfer mine into you, so I'd live through your consciousness." My knees went weak. I gripped the edge of the table. "That's insane." She nodded slowly. "I know. But it worked, partially. I survived. You forgot. And when the experiment was shut down, they wiped all traces. But he," she pointed to the black-coated man, "was one of the technicians. He's been tracking every subject who remembers." She led me deeper into the basement. Behind an old bookshelf, she revealed a narrow passage, concrete walls, flickering lights. Inside, boxes lined the floor. Old hard drives, papers, security badges. On one of the desks, a photo of me, hooked up to wires, eyes closed. I stared at it in horror. "What is this place?" "The lab," she said. "Or what's left of it." I found a folder labeled 7B Termination. Inside, a report. Subject shows signs of recovered fragments. Recommend elimination protocol. Termination, I whispered. "That means." "They kill you," she said. We heard footsteps. Echoing down the corridor. She grabbed my arm. "He's here." We ran. The light flickered behind us, shadows stretching across the wall. A voice echoed through the hall. Calm, male, familiar. "You should have stayed in your silence. The past was safer there." We turned a corner and froze. He stood there, blocking the exit. Up close, his face was older but unmistakable, Dr. Awusti. He smiled faintly. "You were my best subjects." "Why us?" I demanded. He stepped closer. "Because you loved too deeply. Perfect emotional resonance. That's why the transfer succeeded, partially." He looked at her. "But she was never supposed to remember." Her voice broke. "You ruined our lives." "No," he said softly. "I preserved them. Your love, your pain, your essence, exists in both of you now. You're not two people anymore. You're fragments of one mind." He raised a small remote, a metallic click echoed through the room. My head burned suddenly, a sharp pain behind my eyes. I collapsed. Memories flashed, overlapping images of her life, my own, merging into one another. Her childhood. My father's death. Our wedding. A hospital room. A bright light. Then darkness. When I woke, she was kneeling beside me, tears streaming down her face. "He's trying to resync us," she said. "If he finishes, we'll lose ourselves completely." The doctor stood at the terminal, typing rapidly. "Only one of you can stay conscious," he said. "One mind. One vessel. Choose." Her hand gripped mine. "If you stay," she whispered, "he'll use you to rebuild it. The experiment. It'll never end." She pressed something into my palm, the same metallic chip. "Destroy it," she said. "And if I don't make it, remember me." Before I could respond, she lunged at the console, slamming her hand against the control panel. Sparks flew. The lights exploded. The room filled with blinding white light. The last thing I heard was her scream, then silence. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. Machines beeped steadily. A nurse adjusted in 4-line. "What happened?" I asked. She looked at me, confused. "You collapsed at your cafe, sir. You've been unconscious for 3 days." "My cafe?" "Yes. Someone found you lying near the counter." No mention of the basement. No lab. No her. I checked my phone, no messages, no calls. Her number was gone. It was like she never existed. Except, on the bedside table, wrapped in gauze, was the metallic chip. Back home, I plugged it into my laptop. The chip contained a single video. Her face appeared on screen, pale, tired, eyes full of tears. "If you're watching this, it means I didn't make it. They'll erase me, but not completely. A part of me still lives in you, in your memories. The experiment linked us permanently. That's why you dream of things you never did. That's why you still feel me. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I was inside you all along." She smiled faintly. "Destroy the chip. End it. Or they'll come again. And this time, they'll take everything." The video cut to static. I sat there for hours, unable to move. Every moment with her, every laugh, every argument, now blurred between memory and implant. I didn't know which parts were real anymore. That night, I went to the bridge, the same one where we took our last walk before she graduated. The city glowed beneath the rain. I held the chip in my hand, cold and heavy. If I destroyed it, I'd lose the last piece of her. If I kept it, they'd find me. Her words echoed in my mind, "You were the only one who never asked me for anything." I smiled bitterly. "Accept the truth," I whispered. Then I threw the chip into the river. Watched it vanish beneath the dark water. But as I turned to leave, a woman's voice behind me whispered softly. "You finally did it." I froze. Turned around. No one was there. Only the faint scent of her perfume, the same one from 10 years ago, drifting through the rain. And for the first time in a decade, I realized something terrifying. I didn't just remember her. I was her.